Excellent. Well, I thank you everyone for attending here this morning on Resource Stewardship. I'd like to call this meeting of the Standing Committee on Resource Stewardship to order and welcome everyone in attendance, both on here in person and online. My name is Nolan Dick, and I am the MLA for Grand Prairie and new chair for the committee. Happy to be here for my very first one, and I'm looking forward to this. I'd like that members and those joining the committee at the table introduce themselves for the record. And we'll begin with my right, and then after we're through the table here, we will then turn on the line. So to my right.
Good morning, everybody. Jackie Armstrong-Hominiuk, MLA for Saskatchewan-Vegreville.
Garth Rosal, MLA, Vermilion, Lloydminster, Wainwright.
Chelsea Petrovic, MLA for Livingston-McLeod.
Scott Sear, MLA, Bonneville, Cold Lake, St. Paul.
Jason Steffen, MLA, Red Deer South.
Morning, Heather Sweet, MLA, Edmonton Manning. Rachel McGrath, Research Officer.
Good morning, Bonnie Govindarajan, Parliamentary Council.
Good morning, Nancy Robert, Clerk of Journals and Committees. Warren Huffman, Committee Clerk.
Excellent. We'll go online in this order, if we may. Ms. Calahoo Stonehouse, then Al Janae, and then Mr. Ip.
Good morning, MLA Jody Calahoo Stonehouse, Edmonton Rutherford.
Hi everyone, Najwan Al-Junaid, MLA from Calgary-Glenmore.
Good morning, everybody. Nathan Ip, MLA for Edmonton Southwest.
Excellent, and thank you everyone for their introductions. And then for the record, I will note the following substitutions. Mr. Steffen is substituting for Mr. Yao. Now, we do have a couple housekeeping items to address before we turn to our business at hand here this morning. Please note that the microphones are operated by Hansard staff. Committee proceedings are live streamed on the internet and broadcast on Alberta Assembly TV, and the audio and video stream and transcripts of meetings can be accessed via the Legislative Assembly website. For those participating by video conference, you're encouraged to please turn on your camera while speaking and mute your microphone while not speaking. Members participating virtually who wish to be placed on a speakers list are asked to email or message the committee clerk, and members in the room are asked to please signal to the chair. Please also set your cell phones and other devices to silent for the duration of the meeting. Now, we do need to approve the agenda. Are there any changes or additions to the draft agenda? If not, would someone like to move, let someone approve the proposed agenda as distributed for its November 24th, 2025 meeting. I see Mr. MLA Sear. Thank you. Next, we have the draft minute. Oh, sorry. Sorry, my bad. Any discussion? All in favor or any opposed? Any discussion? It's super. Excellent. So all in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Next, we have the draft minutes of our September 16th, 2025 meeting. Are there any errors or omissions to note? See no hands raised. If not, would a member like to move that the Standing Committee on Resource Stewardship approve the minutes as distributed of its meeting held on September 16th, 2025? Any discussion? Okay, we have a mover. Thank you very much. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Any opposed? Okay. Oh, anybody online have any discussion or any opposed? I don't see any hands or anything, so that motion is carried. All right, well, we are here today to review the Public Interest Disclosure Whistleblower Protection Act and review of research by the Legislative Assembly Office, and specifically our cross-jurisdictional comparison. At our meeting on June 27th, the committee passed a motion requesting the Legislative Assembly Office to prepare a cross-jurisdictional comparison to assist us in our review of the Public Interest Disclosure Whistleblower Protection Act. I would like to invite Dr. McGrath to give us an overview of that research and respond to any questions member may have. Please go ahead when you are ready, Doctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning to the committee. I'll very briefly discuss the cross-jurisdictional comparison prepared by Research Services on the request of the committee for its current review of the Public Interest Disclosure Whistleblower Protection Act. The cross-jurisdictional comparison focuses on similarities and differences in public interest disclosure legislation across 13 Canadian jurisdictions in order to provide the committee with a comparative frame of reference as it conducts its current review of Alberta's Public Interest Disclosure Whistleblower Protection Act. The document compares the scope of the legislation, definitions of key terms, including wrongdoing, disclosure, and reprisal, the processes for managing disclosures of wrongdoing and complaints of reprisal, the investigative procedures, reporting requirements, and offenses and penalties across the jurisdictions compared. The document is not an exhaustive comparison of all aspects of public interest disclosure legislation in Canada, and Research Services recommends that the committee members consult the original legislation for further details. And that concludes my remarks regarding the cross-jurisdictional comparison. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, thank you very much for the presentation. Do members have any questions related to this report? All right, I see Emily Rosewell.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm relative to penalties and how Alberta ranks or where we're at across the country.
So for penalties, I believe that's in section 8 of our document. And in our review, we found that there was pretty comparable penalties across jurisdictions. So for example, Alberta has the same penalties as British Columbia, which are $25,000 for a first offense and $100,000 for a subsequent offense. Let's see, in other jurisdictions, some do not have any monetary penalties at all, and the penalties are disciplinary penalties. It looks like Quebec has some of the highest penalties, up to $100,000 for a wrongdoing by an institution. For an individual, it's up to $30,000. So, pretty comparable across jurisdictions. Yeah.
Thanks. Yes, Ms. Sweet.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick question. Are you able to tell me when the last amendments were done on all the other provinces for legislation?
Thank you to the member for the question and through the chair. I believe off the top of our report here, we cannot provide that information immediately, but if the committee would like us to provide that information, we could definitely respond in writing.
You may. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a follow-up to that. If we could maybe get the information about the frequency of amendments in other jurisdictions in comparison to the last time Alberta did it, I would appreciate that.
Thank you, member.
I'm just going to put this out to the committee. The question was just gathering all the information of when the other provinces have changed their whistleblower legislation. That's correct? Summarizing correctly?
Yeah, it's just the dates. We haven't made any amendments in Alberta in the last 3 reviews. I'm just curious how often other provinces are amending their legislation.
So this is open. We would just need the committee's will for this on this idea. I don't believe we need a motion for this, but it would just be any debate, and we can request this. Let the committee clerks do this.
Good idea.
Sounds good. All right. Perfect. Any other questions on this section? Perfect. I'm not seeing any hands up, and I'm not seeing anything online. So thank you for your presentation. We are now going to move to the written submission summary. At our September 16th meeting, the committee agreed to issue an invitation to stakeholders and the public to provide written submissions in relation to our review of the Public Interest Whistleblower Protection Act. I would note for the record that the committee received 13 submissions, 12 of which were received prior to the deadline established by the committee, with one coming 2 business days afterwards. All submissions received came from identified stakeholders. These submissions were posted to the committee's internal website as they were received. At the September 16th meeting, the committee also directed LAO staff to prepare a summary of the written submissions received. I would like to invite Dr. McGraw again with LAO Research Services to provide an overview of the summary document.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. And thank you again to the committee. I also have very brief comments about the submission summary this morning. As you noted, Mr. Chair, the committee invited stakeholders and the public to make written submissions with respect to the Act and potential amendments to the Act. The committee also directed Research Services to produce a summary of written submissions received during this submission window for the committee's consideration during its review of the Public Interest Disclosure Whistleblower Protection Act. The summary of written submissions summarizes the issues identified and recommendations proposed in written submissions received by the committee. The committee received a total of 13 submissions, 5 from public entities, 3 from post-secondary institutions, 1 from a nurses union, 1 from a financial institution, 1 from the Center for Free Expression, 1 from the Public Interest Commissioner, and 1 from the Public Service Commission. The issues identified and recommendations made by stakeholders in their submissions are organized into 3 main categories in the document, which are the scope of the Act, which includes recommendations and issues pertaining to the application of the Act, strengthening protections for whistleblowers and witnesses, which contains issues and recommendations pertaining to creating an environment that protects people from reprisal when making disclosures, and the final section includes recommendations and issues related to improving the functionality of the Act, or pertaining to improving the investigative and reporting procedures. The submission summary is not an exhaustive representation of all the issues and recommendations identified by stakeholders in their submissions, and Research Services recommends that the committee members consult the original submissions for further details. And that concludes my remarks. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Dr. McGraw. As mentioned before, the committee has received 13 written submissions, and the Public Service Commissioner submission was received on Tuesday, November 4th, which was 2 business days after the Friday, October 31st deadline. The committee should decide if it would like to accept the late submission, and I apologize, I'm jumping ahead. I would first of all like to open the floor for questions to Dr. McGraw on the written submissions. Yes, Ms. Sweet.
I do have a question around, did we do an analysis over the recommendations from the last review that we did in comparison to the written submission? And is there a consistent theme around requests for things that were asked to be changed in the last review that are now being asked to be reviewed again? Or adjusted again, or amended again? It's 9 a.m.
Thank you to the member for the question, through the chair. Research Services did not do an explicit analysis comparing the submissions this time to last time, but we can confirm that there are some of similar recommendations this time compared to last time. I believe that the previous submission summary document is available for committee members if they would like to review the previous documents from the previous review, if you would like to do that comparison.
I just confirmed with the committee clerk that that review is available for members. Anyone else? Member Stefan.
Sure. Just a question. Did any of the submissions discuss concerns about people inappropriately using the whistleblower legislation to make false accusations that they know are false?
Thank you to the member for the question, through the chair. None of the submissions submitted for this round contained specific concerns about that. There were some references to that possibility made by the Center for Free Expression and the Office of the Public Interest Commissioner, mentioning that that was a possibility, that there was fear about that, but none of the other submitters indicated a specific case or echoed that concern.
Excellent. I'm not seeing any more hands up on the written submission. And does anybody online have a question? I'm not seeing any hands up online. So thank you so very much for the presentation, Dr. McGraw, on the written submission. Members, as we are now needing to decide upon the written submissions. As mentioned before, the committee has received 13 written submissions, and the Public Service Commissioner submission was received on Tuesday, November 4th, which was 2 business days after the Friday, October 31st deadline. The committee should decide if it would like to accept the late submission, and I will open the floor to discussion and motions. Now, on this, the clerk has prepared a standard motion which did not need to go on notice, which will we can put up on the screen here, I believe, as well, for you to review. But is there any discussion or interest in moving this forward? Ms. Sweet.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just move that the committee accept the late submission and we just move on.
Great. Do I need the full? Okay, Ms. Sweet, since you moved it, can you please read the full motion here?
That all written submissions received by the Standing Committee on Resource Stewardship by November the 4th, 2025, in regards to its review of the Public Interest Disclosure Whistleblower Protection Act be accepted and included in the review process.
Excellent. Any discussion on this motion? Anybody online? Oh, okay. I don't see any hands up. So first of all, we'll say all in favor. Aye. Any opposed? Excellent. Now online. Can I just do this? Any opposed? All in favor online.
Aye.
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 And any opposed? All right, that motion is carried. Now, typically at this stage, we also review the committee of the review. Sorry, the committee considers whether the written submissions received should be made public. And I will highlight that all invitations sent to stakeholders stated that written submissions received may be made public. And at this time, I would like to open the floor to any comments, questions, or motions related to this matter. And once again, the committee clerk did prepare a standard motion that did not need to go on notice prior to that. It just states this. Now, if someone would like to potentially move such a motion, there's an opportunity to do so. Mr. Steffen.
Excellent. I'd like to move that the Standing Committee on Resource Stewardship direct the Legislative Assembly Office to make all written submissions accepted as part of its review of the Public Interest Disclosure Whistleblower Protection Act publicly available on the Assembly website, except for portions of submissions that contain any of the following: personal contact information other than the name and municipality of the submitter, personal information of an identifiable third party, and of course, profane or obscene language. We don't want any of that.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Mr. Steffen. Any discussion on this motion? I see none in the room. Anybody online like to step into this discussion? I don't see any hands up. So all in favor for this motion, please say aye. Any opposed? All right, turning online, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed online? Excellent, that motion is carried. Now we need to make a decision regarding oral presentations. Members, as we have now made our decisions regarding written submissions, we now move to consideration of inviting oral presentations as the next stage of our review. During comprehensive statute reviews, it is common practice to invite oral presentations from key stakeholders and others so that the committee can collect additional information and pose questions to the presenters for clarification on written submissions that have been made. At this time, I would like to open the floor to any comments, questions, or motions in relation to hearing oral presentations. Excellent. I see Member Rosewell.
Very good. I'd like to make a motion. Excellent. If we can get it up on the screen. Move that the Standing Committee on Resource Stewardship review of the Public Interest Disclosure Whistleblower Protection Act. The committee invite a member from each of the government official opposition caucuses to submit to the committee clerk no later than 12 p.m. on December 8th, 2025, a list of up to 2 identified stakeholders who have made written submissions with respect to the Act, and that the committee invite those stakeholders to provide an oral presentation at an upcoming committee meeting.
Excellent. Thank you, member. Any discussion on this motion? Yes, Ms. Sweet.
So just a point of clarity, I guess, for myself, is that I have other motions that are coming forward that would not be in relation to written submissions. Would this make those motions out of order?
My understanding, chatting with in preparation for this, Ms. Sweet, is that they will be in order even after passing this one. Okay.
Then I have nothing else to say.
Okay. Excellent. Any other discussion on this motion? No? Excellent. In that case, all in favor here in the room, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Excellent. Online, any all in favor, please say aye.
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 Excellent. And any online opposed to this motion? That motion is carried. Is there any other motions? Ms. Sweet.
Shocking. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to put up main motion ID 4, please. That the Standing Committee on Resource Stewardship invite, as part of the committee review of the Public Interest Disclosure Whistleblower Act, officials from the following ministries to provide an oral presentation at an upcoming committee meeting on the protection for employees under the respective ministries who have disclosure under the Act: A, primary and preventative health services; B, hospital and surgical health services; C, mental health and addictions; and D, assisted living and social services. Can I provide rationale?
Absolutely, Member Sweet.
So the rationale behind this is that in our previous meetings, we had a discussion about what the difference was between a stakeholder and a government official coming to the committee to provide information to the committee. In the previous meetings, the government had determined that these 4 ministries would be considered stakeholders and would not be considered government officials, and therefore needed to be invited under stakeholder relations. We are now at that stage. So I am moving forward with the recommendation of the government side during our last committee, which is to invite these 4 ministries to come and present about how this impacts their frontline workers.
Excellent. Thank you, Member Sweet. Is there any other discussion on this? Mr. Rosewell.
Yeah, I just, as you know, we just passed the last motion relative to submissions coming from written submissions, and I don't want to expand it beyond into ministries. We're looking at the stakeholders that we're taking information from. So I think it's good to keep it from that list of people that bothered to make a submission written.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Mr. Rosewell. Anyone else? Member Sweet.
Well, this is going to take a bit, I think. So I just, in fairness, want to recognize that I've reached out to some of the people that we had requested written submissions from. And unfortunately, given the dynamic that was going on with bargaining and a whole bunch of other issues that were happening at the time, they did not receive an invitation to be able to do this. And if they did, it got lost in all of the other things that they've been dealing with, including bargaining and all of the other pieces. So although I appreciate that the government thinks that 2 written submissions with 2 individuals on each side of this house is appropriate, this is the area of individuals that is the most represented and protected by whistleblower protection. There are significant changes happening within the ministries at this time. There are now 4 when there used to be 1. And so it's important that we ensure that all areas of healthcare understand their responsibility. And with the shifts from privatization to privatization that has very clearly been delivered by this government, we need to ensure that all frontline workers are protected.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Sweet, for that. Just a point of clarity on that too as well. All of these ministries did receive a written submission, a written letter to them. as well. So is there any other further discussion on this? I am seeing none. All right, well, this is the motion on, oh, sorry, I apologize, Member Ip.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I just want to echo MLA Sweet's rationale. We have to recognize that the restructuring of healthcare has left a lot of healthcare workers vulnerable. And given the current events and the challenging timelines, I agree that it's important to ensure that those voices are heard and that we invite them to the committee for oral presentations. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you, Member Ip. Is there any other comments on this? All right, I will call the question. All in favor of this motion, please say aye. Aye. Okay, and then and then online, any in favor? Oh, sorry, just one second. Should I do? Sorry, anyone opposed in the room? Please say nay. All right, and then online, anybody in favor of this motion, please say aye.
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 Okay, and any opposed online? All right, that motion is defeated. Are there any other motions to be presented? Ms. Sweet.
Well, let's try it again. So, main motion ID 5, that the Standing Committee on Resource Stewardship invite, as part of the committee review of the Public Interest Disclosure Whistleblower Protection Act, the following organizations to provide an oral presentation at an upcoming committee meeting on what protections exist for employees that they represent who make disclosure of wrongdoing. A, Alberta Union of Provincial Employees. B, United Nurses of Alberta. C, Health Sciences Association of Alberta. And D, Alberta Medical Association.
Excellent. Thank you for that moving. Ms. Sweet, is there any discussion on this? Sorry, you want to provide rationale? I apologize, Ms. Sweet. Go ahead.
Same rationale as before, except that these are actually the organizations that represent these frontline workers, including physicians. So it's not just union representative, it's actually professional organizations, all which are working in healthcare, all which are being impacted by the moves of this government to move to privatization and dismantling of our healthcare system. And so I would encourage us to have them come and be able to talk about how we can protect frontline workers.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Sweet. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, I understand this. My suggestion would be to invite the United Nurses of Alberta, since they did a written submission. From there, I think that from there we need to limit the oral presentations to those who have formally engaged with us, who have had these written submissions. So, I'm going to vote no to this, and I'm going to recommend that the opposition invite the United Nurses of Alberta, who did do a written proposal, to come and do an oral proposal. So, thank you.
Excellent. Anyone else? Oh, Ms. Aujane.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I would like just to say I support this motion. I think when we have big policies and big overhaul happening in the healthcare system, just like what we're seeing right now, we need to hear as many diverse voices as possible, especially if they're impacted. The healthcare workers will be deeply impacted by whistleblower legislation. And as I mentioned, there are massive changes right now happening to the healthcare system. So it's important to have an intentional and thoughtful legislation and change based on hearing as many voices as possible. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your passionate response there. Is there anyone else looking to step into debate of this motion? Seeing none, I will call the question. All in favor of this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Excellent. All opposed in the room to this motion, please say nay. Okay, and then turning online, all in favor of this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
And those, any opposed online, please say nay. All right, that motion is defeated. I believe, is there any other motions on notice that anybody wants to respond with? I see none. Excellent. So this moves us to next steps. And as we continue information gathering for our review, our next step will be hear oral presentations, which I believe is at the call of the chair for the dates. So we will do that. Is there any other business at hand?
Just a point of clarity.
Yes.
Point of clarity, Chair, you're setting the date, but we have to invite people first.
Yes.
So
So-
can you provide us process, please?
You betcha. So my understanding of process is we will set a date here and then look for stakeholders to be invited, and that will be in working with the committee clerks. Maybe I'll let the committee clerk comment on this as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the motion stated that both caucuses submit a list of two stakeholders to present by, I think it was December 8th, 2 weeks from today. And once those names are received, we'll send the invitation out and the chair will set a date for the meeting.
Excellent. Perfect. Well, and then also the date of the next, that moves us, sorry, any other business? Not seeing any. Date of next meeting, the date of our next meeting will be at the call of the chair. And that moves us to the end of the meeting, and I would call for a motion to adjourn. Okay, I see Member Petrovic, that she is moving to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Excellent. Any opposed? Online, all in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Perfect. Any opposed? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.